You're sitting on the floor, you're on the couch, you're trying to do something, anything for just 5 minutes, and then it happens. Your baby spots you, locks eyes, and crawls or toddles directly toward you with the focused intensity of someone on a mission. And before you can move, they are on you, climbing your legs, pulling themselves up your torso, pressing their entire body against yours like they are trying to physically merge with you. And your first instinct, because you are a loving parent who has also been touched approximately 9,000 times today, might be to wonder, why does my baby do this? Is something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Are they too attached? Are they anxious? Should I be more independent with them? Here's what I want you to know before we go any further. What your baby is doing when they climb on you is not a behavior problem. It is not a sign of anxiety or over-attachment or a lack of independence. It is one of the most neurologically sophisticated, developmentally healthy, evolutionarily ancient things a baby can do. And by the time this video is over, you are going to look at your baby climbing on you completely differently, not as something to manage, as something to understand. Let's start with what's actually happening. The first reason your baby climbs on you is the most fundamental one. You are their nervous system. This is not a metaphor. This is neuroscience. Babies are born without the neurological infrastructure to regulate their own emotional and physiological states. The prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for calming the stress response, managing emotions, and creating a felt sense of safety, does not fully develop until the mid-20s. Your baby has almost none of this capacity yet. What they have instead is you. Developmental psychologist Ed Tronick, whose research on early emotional regulation has reshaped how we understand infancy, describes this as co-regulation. Your baby's nervous system borrows yours to function. When your baby is overstimulated, frightened, overwhelmed, or simply running a low-grade stress response from the general enormity of being new and awake in a busy world, their nervous system does something extraordinary. It reaches for yours. And the primary way it does that reaching is physical. Your heartbeat, your breathing, the warmth of your skin, the specific pressure of your body against theirs. These are not comforts. They are biological inputs that your baby's nervous system uses to regulate itself. When your baby climbs on you, their cortisol levels drop. Their heart rate steadies. Their breathing synchronizes with yours. The stress response that was running in the background, often below the threshold of any visible distress, settles. And your baby's brain, which was spending cognitive resources managing that background stress, is suddenly free. Free to explore, free to play, free to learn. This is why you will notice, if you pay attention, that babies who have just climbed on their parent and spent a few minutes pressed against them often push off and go exploring with more confidence and more energy than before. They didn't just want comfort, they were refueling. The second reason is something researchers call the secure base effect. John Bowlby, the psychiatrist who developed attachment theory, spent his career studying one of the most counterintuitive findings in all of developmental psychology. Securely attached babies, babies whose caregivers were reliably responsive and physically available, did not become more dependent. They became more independent. Not because they needed their parents less, because they needed them more accurately. They knew at a deep neurological level that the base was safe. that if they ventured out and things got hard, they could come back. And that certainty, that bedrock confidence, was what made exploration possible. When your baby climbs on you, they are not clinging because they are weak or anxious. They are returning to base. They are doing what Bowlby called proximity-seeking behavior, the hardwired biological drive to reduce distance from the attachment figure when the nervous system registers stress, novelty, or uncertainty. And here is what makes this so important. The baby who is allowed to return to base, who finds the base available and warm and not pushing them away, is the baby whose brain learns the world is safe enough to explore. Every time you let your baby climb on you and stay, you are writing that message deeper into their nervous system. The third reason your baby climbs on you is proprioceptive regulation. This is the one most parents have never heard of, and it might be the most immediately useful. The proprioceptive system is the body's internal sense of where it is in space. It receives input from muscles, joints, and deep pressure receptors in the skin. And in babies, whose nervous systems are still calibrating to the physical world, the proprioceptive system is one of the primary channels through which regulation happens. Deep pressure, specifically, is one of the most powerful calming inputs a developing nervous system can receive. This is why weighted blankets work for sensory-sensitive children and adults. This is why swaddling calms newborns. This is why babies calm when held firmly rather than loosely. When your baby climbs on you, they are seeking deep pressure input. The weight of their own body against yours, the resistance of your torso, the containment of being held between your arms, all of this is providing proprioceptive feedback that directly quiets the stress response. Your baby is self-medicating, and the medicine is you. The fourth reason is developmental, and it changes by age in ways that are fascinating. At around 8 months, most babies experience what developmental psychologists call stranger anxiety. The world, which was previously a relatively undifferentiated place of interesting stimulation, suddenly reorganizes itself into a new and critical distinction: safe and unsafe, known and unknown, you and everyone else. This is not regression, this is progress. It is the baby's brain developing the capacity to form specific attachments, to distinguish between the person who has been reliably responsive and everyone who hasn't. And this new distinction comes with a completely natural and neurologically appropriate increase in proximity seeking, more climbing, more following, more needing to be physically touching the safe person. At around 1 year, something else happens. Your baby becomes mobile in new ways. They can pull up, cruise, walk, and suddenly the world is much larger and much more overwhelming than it was when they were stationary. And a larger, more overwhelming world means a greater need to return to base. More climbing, more clinging, more pressing their body against yours. At around 18 months, many parents notice what feels like a regression. A baby who seemed to be becoming more independent suddenly wants to be on you constantly. This is actually a completely predictable response to a major developmental shift. At 18 months, cognitive development is accelerating rapidly. Language is exploding. Object permanence is consolidating. The baby's brain is processing enormous amounts of new information, and the nervous system load of that processing is real. So, they return to base more. They climb more. They need the regulation more precisely because they are doing the most extraordinary internal work. Understanding this pattern changes everything. When your baby clings, it is not a sign that development has stalled. It is often a sign that development is accelerating. The fifth reason is one that most parenting books don't talk about, and it's about you specifically, not babies in general. Your baby doesn't climb on everyone, they climb on you. And that specificity is not random. It is the result of hundreds and thousands of interactions in which you were the person who came when they cried, the person whose face responded to their face, the person whose voice was familiar from before they were born, the person whose heartbeat they knew in the womb. Your baby climbs on you because you are their person, because in their entire small world, you are the one whose proximity means safety. And that choice, that specific, clear, unambiguous choice of you over everyone else, is not a burden. It is an honor. Neuroscientist Ruth Feldman's work on biological synchrony found that the physiological attunement between a parent and baby, the way their heart rates and cortisol levels and brainwave patterns align, is specific. It builds over time, through exactly the kind of repeated physical closeness and responsive caregiving that your baby is seeking when they climb on you. Your baby is not climbing on you despite knowing you. They are climbing on you because of knowing you. Because your body is the environment their nervous system is most calibrated to. Because you are the regulation they have learned to trust. So what do you do with all of this? The first thing is permission. Permission to let it happen without anxiety about what it means or what it might be creating. The research is clear and consistent. Responding to your baby's climbing, allowing the physical closeness, being the available base they return to, does not create dependence. It creates security. And security is the foundation from which independence is eventually built. The second thing is presence. When your baby climbs on you, put your phone down for 2 minutes. Press back. Let them feel you respond to their arrival. Those 2 minutes of genuine physical presence, where your nervous system is actually available, rather than physically there, but mentally elsewhere, are worth more neurologically than 20 minutes of half-present holding.